So as everybody knows by now, this week, classified documents were found in Mike Pence's home in Indiana by his lawyer. And of course, they promptly turned them over to where they belong, and they're cooperating with an ongoing probe, much like President Biden. But on Fox News this week, on Tuesday, Senator Ted Cruz was brought on to talk with former Trump advisor Larry Kudlow, who of course has landed a new cushy gig at Fox Business after leaving the Trump administration. And Ted Cruz went on a tear about how horrible it is that Biden had classified documents. Which, of course, that's nothing new. That's what Republicans have been saying from the beginning. But what is fun is that halfway through, Kudlow says, well, hey, we just learned, not long ago, like earlier in the day, that Pence had documents. What do you think about that? And immediately, within 30 seconds of trashing Biden for doing it, Ted Cruz totally wrote off everything that Pence did because, as he said, he's a friend and he's a good guy. So here is Ted Cruz doing the fastest 180 probably in political history. Take a look.
Then this shifts from a political problem to a very serious problem of criminal liability and major crimes. And so the FBI needs to search the University of Delaware archives, and they need to search Hunter Biden's home and business addresses.
Just as an addendum to this, the news came out today, I'm sure you saw it, that former Vice President Mike Pence, a friend of both of ours, he's found some classified documents, I think at his home in Indiana, not in his office. What do you make of that? Is this different from the Biden story? Does this complicate the story? Are we going to continue the bull market in special counsels? I'd rather have a bull market in stocks than in special counsels. How do you see it, Senator Cruz?
Oh, look, the Mike Pence story, it's still early. Mike Pence, and as you noted, he is a good friend. He's a good man. He's explained where these came from. What his office has put out is that in packing up the vice presidential offices, that there were a couple of papers that were classified that were inadvertently put with non-classified materials. That was a mistake, but there's no reason to think it was anything but inadvertent.
Hunter Biden and President Biden should be, burned at the stake for doing this. And, Mike Pence, what a good guy. And, Pence, he's explained all about it, so there's nothing wrong with that. But I want those other guys in prison for the rest of their lives, Larry. It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, look, we all knew Republicans were going to jump to Mike Pence's defense, just like they did with Donald Trump. In fact, when the FBI had to go to Mar-a-Lago to get their documents back, the government's documents back, Ted Cruz referred to it as a fishing expedition. And then when Biden does it, but cooperates fully, nope, it's the worst crime we have ever seen in the history of the United States. And then, of course, another Republican gets hit with it, and he's like, Mike Pence, what a guy. Yeah, it's my guy. This is the dumbest thing ever. And I'm honestly kind of getting pissed off that I even have to continue talking about it, but apparently we do, because we have to continue to debunk the idiotic talking points from people like Ted Cruz. But that 180 you witnessed there, I do think that is newsworthy. I do think that is something that deserves to be discussed. Because Ted Cruz was looking at two identical situations. And one, he's lying about the two identical situations. And two, he addresses them both completely differently just based on which party that person in the scandal happens to be a member of. He is too tribal to be able to even see things accurately. Because as he said in that clip, Biden hasn't explained where these documents came from. Bullcrap. He actually has. Those documents found at Pennsylvania University, those were part of a cache of items donated to the university by not president at the time, but now President Biden. He donated them, and for the record, only him and his staff had access to them. Nobody else was allowed to look. They were under lock and key. So I don't know what your big problem is. Mike Pence likely didn't do anything malicious. President Biden likely didn't do anything malicious. That's all you had to say. You have to treat these two things fairly. The only one that is the outlier is, of course, Donald Trump. And it's not because he had the documents. If he had just returned them, we wouldn't have even known about it, most likely. And if we had, it would have been a story for half a day and we would have moved on. Instead, he obstructed for a year as the National Archives attempted to get these documents back. So the obstruction is part of it. His lawyers lied to federal investigators about whether or not he even had any documents left. And when they got the surveillance footage that everyone seems to have forgotten about from Mar-a-Lago, that's when the FBI said, oh, hell no, we got to get down there. So Trump lied, his lawyers lied, they all obstructed. That's the difference. And if anybody goes down for their document scandal, it will be Trump and his lawyers, but not because they had the documents, but because they lied to investigators in an ongoing investigation. That's always a big no-no, and that is what sets apart from Donald Trump's scandal and Pence's and Biden's, which in my opinion, neither Pence nor Biden, those aren't even scandals. They're fully cooperating. Nothing will probably come of it for either of them. And based on what we've seen from the DOJ, because now they're scared because Biden and Pence had documents too, nothing will probably happen to Trump in this particular case either. Hi everyone, this here is little Athena. And Athena would like to know why you haven't subscribed to Fair and Balanced yet. So please, don't let Athena down. Subscribe today.